What are angel numbers like 1111? Now, this is going to be a very interesting video. It's probably going to be a very controversial topic as well. We have so much to talk about. This is really important. Are these real? Are they not? Are they a figment of the imagination, or are they beings trying to communicate with you, or the universe telling you that you're on the right path? What are they? Why do you see these numbers? What's going on? And not only are we going to be looking at a lot of information on this that's extremely fascinating and very important, because there's a lot of big mistakes that can be made here. Not only that, but I'm going to be sharing with you something that actually happened to me right before this video that was pretty incredible. I thought it was pretty crazy. So I'm going to be sharing that with you as well. This is going to be a good one, so strap yourselves in. Now, before we get started, as always, I want to say, please make sure that you like and subscribe. It helps to spread information like this around. I want to, help raise consciousness, help get information out there, and when you like and subscribe and share these videos, it helps do that. Also, be aware that there are scammers in the comments, people pretending to be me, saying to join my Telegram, join my WhatsApp. I don't have those, so that's not me. Don't fall for the scams. Keep your eyes open. Also, there are people and groups out there that don't like what I'm doing, that don't like what we're doing, that don't want this information out there. And so they are spreading misinformation and disinformation about me and us. So keep your eyes open again and don't fall for the bullshit. Use logic and reason. All right, here we go, my friends. Angel numbers. What are they? Are they real? What do they mean? What's going on? How come we see them? Great stuff that we're talking about today. So to jump into it right away, let's just get an understanding real quick of what angel numbers are. I'm sure that most people understand or know, have some, if you're watching this video, you probably have some familiarity with them. But if not, let me just give you a real quick summary here. And so let me just bring this on the screen. I don't know why this isn't up already. So let's see. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to just read real quick a little excerpt from an article called "The Problem with Synchronicities" by Knowledge Collective on medium.com. Knowledge Collective is really great. I like them and I love their articles. They have some really great stuff. So make sure you give them a follow, etc. But real quick, it says when you Google 0003333 4444 blah blah blah, you're going to get overwhelmed with a lot of complex information. And so here are the most common search numbers and their numerology meanings. So you have these sequences of numbers, right? Like 333, and they have different meanings associated with them. But it's pretty contradictory. Some people say they mean one thing, other people say they mean something else. But in general, it says something like, 333 might mean encouragement, that you're manifesting your goals or aligned with your soul purpose. 777 might mean spiritual awakening and mystical experiences opening up. And to get a better understanding of what all this means as well, let's jump over to YouTube real quick and take a look at this video called Your Universe. And let's just hear a quick explanation of angel numbers, and then let's break this down and see what's going on. Remember, we're going to look at this from the perspective of logic and reason, but also tapped into intuition as well. We always want to synthesize or synergize intuition with reason. We want to be intuitive, we want to be open-minded, but we want to be grounded in logic and reason as well. It's important to synergize these facets of the mind.
If you've ever seen repeating number sequences such as 111, 444, or 777, these are examples of what are referred to as angel numbers. Or it could be that you look at your clock at the exact same time each and every day, such as 333. These types of number sequences are said to be connected to specific vibrational frequencies that hold meaning beyond their numerical value. The veil between our spiritual world and our physical world is quite thin, and our angelic and
Okay, so first of all, what angel numbers are numbers that you're going to see repeating in different places. Like, let's say you look down at your phone and wow, it's 1111. And then you're going about your day, walking around, and oh my God, that car that just passed, I just looked at its license plate and it had 1111 in the license plate. And then maybe you're walking and then you perhaps buy something at Starbucks and your receipt comes out and oh man, it came out to 1111. That mocha latte I bought, venti, was 1111. So it's just these numbers that you're seeing. It doesn't have to be 1111. It can be any grouping of numbers that you see repeatedly. These are what angel numbers are, and people ascribe meaning to them, but then also think that these are communications from the universe or other beings. So let's hear a little more about that.
Spiritual guides don't necessarily abide by the same rules and lenses as we do. They love the opportunity to communicate with us, to give us validation of being on a specific path, or offer guidance. Angel numbers are one way they do this. This communication may also come in the form of seeing specific objects, such as feathers, rainbows, flashes of light, or specific animals or insects, such as butterflies or ladybugs.
All right, so same sort of thing. It's seeing repeated things. You might see a butterfly fly by. Whoa, that's kind of interesting. Then you see a butterfly, drawing somewhere that someone did, or you open your Instagram and, oh, wow, look, there's a video about butterflies or something. Wow, that's really interesting. So what's going on here? These coincidences that are occurring. Now, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you what I think about angel numbers. And I'm also going to tell you that I'm probably going to make a lot of people mad here, because probably my position is not taken well by everyone. But here's the thing, and what I want to tell you guys is that with my channel and what I want to do is give you guys the real deal. I want to give you straight up information, and I want to tell you to the best of my research, and I've done quite a lot of research, what I believe to be true. And that's why I'm not trying to win any kind of popularity contest here. I'm here to help bring truth to light. And the reason why I do that is because, I grew up in a strict Christian household, and I know how limiting it can be to be confined in programs, thought programs, ways of thinking that are ultimately constrictive and damaging. So my life has been about searching for knowledge, searching for truth, and helping others learn how to do that themselves. So here's the thing. Whether you think angel numbers are totally real or you think angel numbers are complete bullshit, either way that you take it, I'm going to give you what I think, and it's probably you'll see. Let me just start off with talking to you about this here. So angel numbers. Let me give you first of all. I'll give you the good. First, I'll give you the bad. Then I'll give you the good. Okay. And like I said, we have a lot more to look at here. And I'm also going to tell you about a pretty extraordinary thing that happened to me right before I started filming this video or going live. Right before. Very, very cool. I was pretty taken aback, actually. I was like, whoa, that's interesting. So anyway, this idea of angel numbers occurs because of a couple different effects. One of those known as apophenia. Okay, so apophenia. There's a few different things happening here. There's apophenia, and I made some notes here because there's so much to talk about. There's apophenia, selective attention, confirmation bias, and the frequency illusion. Okay, remember, I'm going to give you like kind of the negative side of it, but then I'm going to tell you the positive side of it as well. So apophenia, selective attention, confirmation bias, and frequency illusion. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about this today is because these effects are some of the biggest stumbling blocks that people will encounter who are starting to get into spirituality. So it's really important to talk about these things because people who are just getting into spirituality often get thrown into a world of illusion, a world of falsity because of these effects. And these effects are actually keeping them from reaching a higher consciousness. Just like, certain religions keep people from reaching a higher consciousness, there are certain ideas and effects in the New Age and spiritual community that keep people from reaching higher consciousness. And this is apophenia, selective attention, confirmation bias, and the frequency illusion. Now, this doesn't just happen with angel numbers, but this happens all the time in a lot of different ideas within the New Age community. Angel numbers, astrology, a lot of conspiracy theories that are thrown around, believing in wild things like the earth is flat or that the moon is hollow. A lot of these come from these effects, okay? So first of all, what is apophenia? Apophenia is putting together coincidences and ascribing meaning to it when there aren't really any there. Now, here's the thing. Apophenia is stemming from a highly intuitive mind, usually, not always. But the problem is we want to understand the difference, and this is very important, the difference between concept networking and apophenia. Concept networking helps one reach a higher state of awareness. In the Neogenian system, we call this hyper-awareness. Concept networking is linking things together that seem disparate or seem like they're not connected and linking them together to see their actual connections there. But concept networking is guided by logic and reason. So we use intuition to make connections, and we use logic and reason to verify that those connections are actually real and grounded in something true. This is the part that most people involved in the New Age community, spiritualist community, mystical community, they don't do this part. They just stay in the intuitive part, and so they're not doing concept networking. They're engaged in apophenia. So there's multiple things going on here. Like I said, apophenia, selective attention, confirmation bias, and the frequency illusion, also known as the Bader-Meinhof phenomena. So let me read to you real quick to get a better understanding of what's going on here. And there's multiple things. There's multiple things happening here, and let me explain to you why this is actually so important. So looking at this article on iflscience.com, it says, what are angel numbers like 11, 111, and what is the scientific reason behind them? And it says the real explanation for angel numbers, though, doesn't lie in math, but psychology. It's a manifestation of the very real and scientifically backed effect known as apophenia. Apophenia is an error of perception, the tendency to interpret random patterns as meaningful. Now, pareidolia is a visual apophenia. So it's a very specific kind of apophenia. So you've experienced apophenia all the time. If you look up in the clouds and see a face, that's apophenia. When you look at your outlet and it looks kind of like a face, that's apophenia. When you are, when it's really dark in your room and there's in the corner of your room, there's a pile of clothes, but it looks like a demon, that's apophenia. It's your mind looking for patterns. It's trying to create patterns. That's what your brain does. That's what your mind does. It creates sense out of things and it tries to find patterns. So it's looking for patterns, trying to find patterns, and it ascribes meaning to pattern in such that it's not actually there. Now, are the clouds really in a certain pattern? Yes. Is it literally a face? No, it's not literally a face. Does it kind of look like a face? Yes, it kind of looks like a face, but it's not literally a face. Those clothes in the corner, does it look like a monster? It might, but it doesn't actually. But it's not actually a monster. But here's the thing. Apophenia is not the only thing at play here. The reason why angel numbers are so convincing is because it's not just apophenia that's occurring, like I said. It's also a selective attention, confirmation bias, and the frequency illusion. So let's take a look at what these mean. And by the way, this plays into a lot. I made a lot of notes to myself here because there's so much to talk about here. For those who don't know, I actually studied the techniques that fraudulent psychics use for years. I studied them for years. So I just want people to know that as well. These are things that I have researched intently for years. And this is not just me making things up or going with something because I want things to be a certain way. These are things that I have looked into quite a lot. But remember, I am going to tell you some positive things about this. So it's not all going to be, it's just an illusion. I'm going to tell you some positive things about them as well. But before we get into that, I want to lay all this out. So we already looked at apophenia. And so the other thing that occurs is something known as confirmation bias. So confirmation bias happens when now, this confirmation bias is used a lot during fraudulent psychic readings. So let's say that you're having a psychic reading, and the psychic goes, "Hey, is there someone in your family that just passed?" And they ask you that, and you go, "No, there isn't." And they go, oh, that's weird. Oh, by the way, I'm getting this, I'm seeing like the number 43. Does the number 43 mean anything to you? And they go, oh my God, my driver's license ends in the number 43. So you kind of have this idea, right, where you're having this psychic reading, and the psychic is actually getting a lot of things wrong, but the human mind tends to remember the hits and forget the misses. So when you're done, usually a person goes away going, oh my God, that psychic was incredible. They told me this and this and this and this. And the mind tends to forget about, yeah, but what about the 10 times that they were wrong as well? The mind forgets those sort of things. So this is what this has to do with angel numbers is that you might be like, oh my God, every time I look at my phone or the time on my computer or whatever, it's always 11:11. Well, no, it's not. It's just your mind's not going to remember the time. It's going to dismiss the times. See, what happens is that your mind has ascribed importance to the number 11:11 or the number 333 or 666 or 888 or whatever. It doesn't matter. Or butterflies or ladybugs or feathers, whatever. Your mind has said, hey, this is important. Now, your unconscious is a very powerful. Your unconscious is extremely powerful. So your unconscious has flagged this as important. So what happens is that when you see that number or that pattern, your unconscious is going to go, hey, remember that. Because it's important. It's flagged it as important. So you're like, oh, wow. But every time you don't, when you look at your phone and it's actually 2:26 and doesn't mean anything, you're not going to remember that. It's arbitrary. It's meaningless. There's no meaning ascribed to it. So your mind doesn't care about it. So it makes it go unnoticed. The confirmation bias coupled with apophenia, coupled with selective attention. What is selective attention? Selective attention is basically, it's the ability of our brain to focus on particular things or details while ignoring others. And this goes into the frequency illusion as well. So basically what this means with selective attention is that you are going to start noticing things that your mind has flagged as important. So, for example, if you're walking down the street and you're looking at, you're just walking down the street and there's cars on the road. You pass a certain car that has 11:11 in the license plate. What's your unconscious going to do? Your unconscious is going to go, hey, pay attention to that because it's flagged it as important. So your unconscious, due to selective attention, is now working on overdrive to alert you to things that it has flagged as important or meaningful. So you have this sort of triple threat here with selective attention, confirmation bias, and apophenia. Apophenia ascribing meaning to something when there isn't actually a meaning there. And then you have selective attention, which is when your mind magnifies something that is important, and then confirmation bias when it remembers the times that it did encounter that information, but forgets the times that it did not encounter that information. So another example of this is like when you buy a new car, you might start seeing that car all over the place. You might start seeing it everywhere. Now, just because you start seeing it everywhere doesn't mean that there are more cars in the road. It's just your mind has given that car importance. You own one of these cars now. So your mind says, hey, this is important. And so it flags it as something important. And you start noticing these cars all over the place. Now, there's I'm going to tell you though that there are some positive aspects to this, but before I do that, I want to tell you something about something really interesting that happened to me. Now, before I tell you this very interesting thing that happened to me, I want you to watch with me a little bit of this video. And the reason why we're going to watch a little bit of this video, I actually wasn't planning on watching this video. Okay. I was like, okay, this is because I was looking at, I wonder what things we could watch today. And I saw this one. I'm like, it's okay. It's not bad. But we're going to watch a little bit of it and I'm going to tell you why. So let's just start this. So this video is about the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon, which is also known as the frequency illusion, which has to do with selective attention. Like I told you, when your mind flags something as being important, so now it seems like it's everywhere. Frequency illusion works with selective attention. Frequency illusion happens when your mind has flagged something as important, and so now you start seeing it everywhere. So do you see? So first of all, and what this has to do with angel numbers is through apophenia, mind has flagged a number as important. Through selective attention, the frequency illusion arises. You start seeing that number everywhere. Through confirmation bias, you remember the times that you saw it and forget the times that you looked at your phone and it wasn't that number. So all that really starts to add up to be like, wow, there's no way this could be a coincidence. This is just happening way too much. What's going on? Oh my God, like, is the universe talking to me? What's happening here? Now, let's take a look at this, and I'm going to tell you exactly why we're watching this video in just in a minute.
Have you ever heard a word for the first time? A word like, I don't know, crepuscular, which, by the way, is an adjective describing twilight. And then the next day you see crepuscular again in a novel. And then you see it again the next day in your biology textbook. And you start to wonder, how is it possible that I've gone the first 20 years of my life without ever seeing the word crepuscular, and now in the last week I've seen crepuscular 3 times? I know.
So you can see the similarity already to angel numbers here. So he's describing the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon with the term crepuscular. I've never heard of that word before. You probably haven't either. Mark probably has, because Mark has an amazing inventory of vocabulary. But I hadn't heard that word before. I'm sure most of you probably haven't heard that word before. So basically he's saying if you learn a new word like crepuscular, and then you start seeing it all the time, what's going on? It seems like it can't be coincidence. You've never heard that word in your entire life. Your 20 years or 30 years or 40 years or 50 years of being alive. You've never heard that word before. Now you learned it and you're starting to see it everywhere. And you can see this is kind of similar to angel numbers, where a person might be like, no, you don't understand. This has never happened to me before. It's just starting now. It's got to be this thing. So let's continue.
I know I've experienced this strong feeling of coincidence before, many times, and there's a name for it. It's called the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon. Nobody really knows why it's called that. The Bader-Meinhof group was a late 20th century left-wing militant faction from West Germany. It's likely that the person who gave it that name just happened to be awash in coincidental Bader-Meinhof references. The more scientific name for this phenomenon is the frequency illusion, and it's just another example of our old friend, the cognitive bias at work. See, when we see something for the first time and then many times directly thereafter, it can lead us to believe that there's a greater synchronicity at work in the world around us. Perhaps it's an artifact of determinism, the feeling that everything happens for a reason.
Okay, so see, now we're having apophenia start to take place as well, because we have repeated patterns being seen due to the frequency illusion, and now the mind is trying to ascribe meaning to that. Oh, this must mean something. What is the meaning here? Let's start connecting things together.
The coincidence, we feel, is just too astronomically unlikely. But of course, the truth is that most, bordering on all things, don't happen for a reason, despite our intuition that they do. And yet, it's just that intuition, activated in the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon, that gives us an interesting look into the machinery of the mind. Our brains are essentially pattern-recognizing superheroes, able to find meaning in countless pieces of data. Whether it's our ability to see words in a newspaper word search, or to work out through fine mathematics the natural laws of the universe. For this reason, stimuli which are excited sort of sit in wait at the fore of the brain for similar stimuli with which to identify a pattern. In other words, you may have seen the word crepuscular a number of times in your life, but your brain just wasn't interested.
All right, so this is another important part to talk about here. So now he's describing selective attention, along with confirmation bias, is he's saying that you probably did see the word crepuscular before a lot. It's just, it's a weird word. It's a big word. Your mind didn't ascribe any importance to it, and you probably don't see it that often. It is kind of obscure to a certain degree. So your mind doesn't flag it as important, and so you probably have seen it many, many times. Just like, okay, it's kind of like this. If you see the number 1111 a lot, you can probably remember the last time you saw 1111. You'll be like, oh yeah, I saw it last night on my phone. Well, what time was it when you looked at your phone last? Last time you looked at your phone, what time was it? You probably don't remember, but it's the same information. You looking at your phone, 40 minutes ago to see what time it is versus when you saw 1111, both had the same amount of information gathering, but your mind didn't flag it as important. So you remember the 1111, but you forget the 2:44 or whatever time it was when you happened to look at it. You don't remember it. And, this is part of our evolution. We remember things that we flag as important. If we didn't, we would remember everything. And if we remembered everything, we would go crazy. This is another reason why we don't remember past lives, by the way, because our minds filter out past lives due to evolutionary mechanisms to filter out information that is not pertinent to our immediate survival.
The frequency illusion is augmented by two other phenomena. First, the recency effect, a cognitive bias that inflates the importance of recent stimuli or observations. And second, by the confirmation bias, which in this case is precisely your belief that you're seeing this new thing all over the place. And the frequency illusion can become confirmation bias when our passive experience of repeatedly seeing a new thing turns into an active search for still more examples of the magic that summons it. But what's more interesting to me about this phenomenon is not the coincidences that you think you see, but all the patterns that are zipping by in your day-to-day life that you don't register at all. The Bader-Meinhof illusion proves that we only see the things that we're looking out for. This can be bad in the case of confirmation bias, but it also goes to show how ignorance can be maintained through a lack of active learning. The more you prime your mind by reading and writing to see new patterns, the more reality will unfold before you as an extraordinary mechanism of natural laws. The more humanity will show itself to be an empathetic and beautiful mess of self-delusions and cognitive biases. I could end this video, like everybody else who writes articles about this subject does, by saying that you'll probably see the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon again sometime soon. But of course, those people weren't talking about the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon merely as a ruse to get you to take more notice of the word crepuscular. Because that's what I was doing. Hey everybody.
Okay, see, so it's really funny. Basically, what he's saying is in a nutshell, he's saying like, hey, pay attention if you see the word crepuscular now, because that might happen by the Bader-Meinhof effect, the frequency illusion, that you might see the word crepuscular more now, if your mind flags it as important and something to bring your attention to. And, you probably have never heard the word crepuscular before. Maybe. I think most of you probably have never heard it before. It's probably your first time hearing it. It was my first time hearing the word crepuscular. I never heard it before. I was like, what? I thought it have to do with corpuscles or something like that. No, but crepuscular actually, here, let me look it up real quick. Corpuscular, means resembling or relating to twilight. It has to do with twilight, crepuscular. I didn't know it meant that. I'd never heard it before. So, I watched this video earlier today, and at the end of the video, he's basically like, oh yeah, so by the Bader-Meinhof effect, you might notice the word crepuscular more, essentially is what he's saying. And I know that the Bader-Meinhof effect works. It's not magic or anything, but I know that it works, and I certainly absolutely believe in selective attention and confirmation bias, et cetera, because I've researched it extensively, et cetera, et cetera. But even this, I was like, yeah, probably not. I mean, crepuscular, that's probably a pretty rare word. I mean, I've never heard of it or seen it. I doubt that I'm going to run into it in the coming week or something. I doubt that I'll see it this week. I saw the damn word right before I started this video, and I watched his video about, I don't know, a couple hours ago, because I was looking for videos that we could watch today. So a couple hours ago, I was looking for videos that we could watch today, and right before I started this stream, I saw the word crepuscular. It was on, I don't know if it was Instagram. It was on some social media, and someone's username was crepuscular, and I was just like, wow, because I know this effect works, but I thought maybe I'd see it once this week or something. But no, I literally saw it probably, I don't know, 30 minutes after watching this video. I'd never seen this word before. So you can see just by like an example like this, how and clearly the universe is not communicating with me, right? Clearly the universe isn't communicating with me. There's no angel trying to tell me, oh, the word, you gotta pay attention to crepuscular. No, it means nothing. I mean, it has a meaning, but it has no significance. Clearly, it's not a communication with the universe. Clearly, it's not a communication with an angel. But can you imagine if this phenomenon works so well with something like that? If it were something I was ascribing meaning to, like maybe I just watched a video that was from a tarot reader or a psychic or something and was like, yeah, and if your love life is going to go well, start looking out for butterflies. And then you go outside and, oh my God, the biggest butterfly you've ever seen. And it's the specific one that she was talking about. Oh my, yeah, you know, you can see how powerful that this is. It's it's an extremely powerful effect. And you can see, and people will be like, oh, but the odds are so astronomical. Well, what are the odds that I'm going to see the word crepuscular right after this video ends? Like, what are the odds of that? Probably not very good, but see, like, here's the thing. Not only is the frequency illusion at play, but confirmation bias is at play as well. Because guess what? If I hadn't seen the word crepuscular, it wouldn't matter. I just wouldn't have remembered anything. It wouldn't, my mind wouldn't be like, oh, well, clearly that effect doesn't work. No, it's just, I didn't see it, so it didn't register as anything. So your mind, just think about it. There's all these different things that your mind can be registering as meaningful, certain numbers, certain symbols, and you're going to be seeing those numbers and symbols, and your mind is going to be going, wow, pay attention to that. Isn't that interesting? Hey, look at this. Isn't that interesting? Wow, look, that's super meaningful. And you're going to be like, oh my God, all these coincidences are happening. All these things are happening to me. Yeah, but you're forgetting all the times that they didn't. I'm sure that there's probably something that your psychic told you, or certain symbol that means something to you, or something that hasn't happened in a while. But are you remembering that part of it? No, you're not. It's just like, this also works with horoscopes as well. With confirmation bias is you tend to, let's say you're given a reading and someone tells you about your personality, you're going to remember all the things that they get right, and forget all the things they get wrong. Like if they go, oh, well, yeah, well, you're a very introverted person and you love going to bed late at night, and you like to, your love languages are this, and this. You're going to remember all the things and emphasize all the things that are right about you and downplay the ones that aren't. There's also things known as, we're not going to get into this as well, but there's another effect known as the Barnum statements, which are statements that apply to almost everyone. So statements that apply to almost everyone are things like, oh yeah, well, you know, you like being around friends, but you also need time for yourself to recharge. Like that's something that almost applies to everyone, right? Like, oh yeah, you enjoy being around your friends, but you also need your alone time to recharge. Almost everyone can agree with that, but if you get thrown a lot of these Barnum statements, you're like, oh my God, wow, this person is getting my personality right on point. There's another effect that I can't remember what it's called, but it's when you try to fit, like let's say someone says, oh, you're a very strong leader. This statement can then be interpreted in many different ways. For example, maybe you're not a strong leader at work. Maybe you're very quiet and meek. But let's say when you play video games, you're like the one telling your teammates, oh yeah, let's do this and this. Or a variety of other things. So meaning you'll take this idea of being a leader and you'll try to find where it fits in your life, and you'll probably find some place that it fits somewhere. And then be like, oh wow, they got that right. So that's another effect that I can't remember the name of it at the moment, but that's another one. That doesn't pertain to angel numbers, but this pertains to horoscopes or psychic readings or things like this. So it's really important to understand here that there's a lot of things at play. There's the frequency illusion, there's apophenia, there's selective attention, there's confirmation bias. And this all goes into play onto why these things that just seem so astronomically like against all odds, there's no way that this could happen. There's no way that I could be seeing these numbers all the time. There's no way I could be running into these symbols all the time. Actually yeah, it's just that your mind is remembering the important sequences and forgetting the times that are misses. And so if you were to take that all into consideration, it would be you would see that it actually does add up. Now, that being said, I want to say that there are some things that can be good about angel numbers, and also I want to talk about the idea of synchronicity as well. So here's the thing. Angel numbers can actually be positive if you ascribe positive meanings to them, because your unconscious is powerful and you can use these things as a tool. So let's say you ascribe the number, I don't know, let's say 333, pick whatever you would like 333 to mean. Maybe it means that your life is going well for you, or something like that. I don't know. Now, whenever you see the number 333, you can feel happy and feel good. It can give you a burst of positivity, a burst of excitement, a reminder, etc. You can also anchor your own meanings to numbers. You can anchor meanings to numbers like, well, this particular number is going to remind me to become a better leader, or this number is going to remind me to be a kinder person. I'm going to associate, let's say I'm going to associate 1111 with kindness, let's say. So I associate 1111 with kindness. Now your mind has flagged 1111 as important, selective attention, and has attributed meaning to it. So you're going to start seeing this number, and it's going to remind you to be kind, or of kindness in general. And so that can help you in your life. And it can be a nice reminder to be more kind in your life. And you can ascribe any of these meanings that you'd like. Now, it's not an angel communicating to you. It's not the universe communicating to you, but it can be helpful and meaningful and make life interesting. Because that's another thing as well, is that we can have fun with this kind of thing. If we, let's say 1111 means kindness to us, and we've ascribed meaning to it to mean kindness, well, we can get bracelets with 1111 on it. We can have like necklaces with 1111. We can put 1111 everywhere, and it can make our life more meaningful. It can make our life better. It can be fun. It can be interesting. It's the same thing with like astrology, right? Even though these symbols don't actually represent you because of a time of birth or anything like that, if you archetypally resonate with a certain archetype, yeah, you can have fun with it and wear that symbol, just like you would wear a symbol of any other type of archetype that you might resonate. So like a Egyptian god that you resonate with, or a Greek god that you resonate with, or a pagan god that any of these. Well, those are Greek god is pagan. You get what I mean. You can start. So it's not to say that these things are worthless. All right. I'm definitely not of the camp with like, oh, this is all stupid and it's all bullshit. And no, the unconscious mind is extremely powerful. So leverage it to your advantage and help it make your life more interesting and meaningful. And you can become a better, more interesting person for it. But the thing that we want to avoid is giving up our power as well. So here's the thing. Human beings don't like freedom. For the most part, humans like to say that they like freedom, but most humans don't like freedom. Why? Because freedom is difficult. Freedom comes with responsibility. Freedom comes with anxiety. Freedom comes with risk. Why? Because when you have to make a decision for yourself, you're responsible. You might make the wrong decision. You would be responsible for that decision, and you're risking making that wrong decision. What do people would rather do? They'd rather pray to God, to ask God what they should do, or look to the Bible to what they should do, or ask their pastor what they should do, or ask their priest what they should do, or ask their teacher what they should do, or ask their or do a tarot spread to see what they should do, or look at their horoscope to see what they should do, or wait for an angel number to confirm that they're on the right path, or something like this. So what one has done is given up their freedom. You're giving your freedom away. You're not making decisions. You're no longer morally responsible. It has a lot less anxiety. You're now letting a god or cards or the stars guide you in your actions. And so you've given up a lot of, and this reduces anxiety. But you're no longer exercising true freedom. You're being guided by something external. Now, you can still use these things. You can use tarot cards to tap into your intuition to help get a better idea of a decision that you want to make, but you're using that as a tool to tap into your intuition. You're using them. They're not using you. You're not going, oh, wow, the cards say I should do this, so I'm going to do this. You use them to tap into your own intuition to get a better feel for the situation and make a decision for yourself. So that's a big difference here. So using these things as tools can be helpful when understood what they really are. And so you're being sure, though, not to give up your freedom, not to give up your power, because a lot of people, oh, I'm going to leave Christianity. I don't want to be dictated or have a God tell me what to do anymore. Oh, but I wonder what my angel numbers say. I got to read my horoscope. What do the cards say? No. You have to, realize that we are divine. We are our own saviors. We are here to create a world that reflects our will, because we are divine and this is our creation. We're not here to be commanded by other external influences. Now, that being said, I want to talk about, though, the idea of synchronicity. Now, I want to throw synchronicity in there because remember, we always have to be open-minded. Now, first of all, I want to say again, can I tell you 100% for sure that angel numbers aren't communications from the universe and angels? No, they might be, but it's extremely doubtful. It's like, why did I see the word crepuscular? Was an angel trying to tell me to pay attention to crepuscular? No, it was the frequency illusion. It was selective attention. It was confirmation bias. But can I tell you with certainty, like 100%? No, there's a lot of things it could be. It's possible, but it's highly doubtful. And one should not base their life around this highly doubtful, highly suspect thing. Now, but let's turn to synchronicity. Now, synchronicity is an idea put forth by Carl Jung, and it's often described as meaningful coincidence, but that's not its exact definition. Synchronicity is when an internal state matches an external state. So here's an example of synchronicity. And Carl Jung uses this example of synchronicity. Carl Jung was talking about a dream that a patient had with that patient. Him and that patient were having a discussion, and the patient was telling Jung about a dream that they had. And in this dream, the patient was a particular kind of beetle. Now, this is a very rare kind of beetle that this patient was describing. Now, as they were describing this dream, they hear a tap, tap, tap on the window, and they look at the window, and that kind of beetle is there. So the question is, how and why did something like this occur? Couple different things. It could just be a coincidence coupled with all the different effects that we talked about right here. Because think about all the times that Carl Jung was having a discussion with the patient and something didn't happen. Many, 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 many times. But guess what? Jung remembers the one time that it did happen. So selective attention, confirmation bias, and apophenia can all be at play here. However, we must be open-minded. There is a possibility that it could be something more. And that's the idea of synchronicity, which means that, hey, this reality, it is a mental reality. It's not a material reality. And we really are connected to everything and everyone simultaneously. So at a very deep level, we are connected to everything. So it is possible that we can intuit certain things going on or certain occurrences and then experience those things. So a synchronistic event might be where you're thinking about, let's say, the number 1111, let's say, and it could be that you're thinking about it because the number 1111 is meaningful to you, but it's also, let's say it's on the billboard behind you. Okay, let's say the number 1111 is on the billboard behind you, but you didn't see the billboard. You never saw it. You haven't seen it at all. So it is within the realm of possibility that intuitively, being tapped into the immaterial domain, you could have a sense of you could have picked up on it in some way, that there actually is that thing that is important to you. Even though you never saw it, you could intuitively be tapped into the immaterial domain and be picking up on it. So I just want to put out there that there is the possibility, because we all are non-locally connected by the immaterial domain, by the domain of mind, by the source, the frequency domain, it is possible that synchronicity could be at play, drawing attention to specific meaningful items that are totally outside our domain of experience. Now, do we know that this exists and this is true or not? No, we don't. But it's something to keep an open mind about. And see, this is where I really want to talk to you guys about how it's important to be open-minded, but always grounded in logic and reason. So these frequency illusion, confirmation bias, selective attention, all explain this phenomenon extremely well. And it's highly unlikely that it's angels or the universe. But there does remain a possibility. You don't want to be like an atheist materialist and just totally closed-minded to everything. There is the possibility that synchronicity could be at play and drawing your attention to things more than usual because of being connected to the immaterial domain. That's possible. Do we know if that's true? No, we don't. But it could be, and that would be something that would be interesting to study and to try and figure out if indeed that could be at play here. So the main ideas when it comes to angel numbers is that they're very well explained by apophenia, selective attention, confirmation bias, the frequency illusion, selective attention, all these things that I've mentioned. They're very easily explained by these things. Now, that doesn't mean, though, that they're ridiculous. You can use them to bring meaning into your life. You can ascribe meaning to these things like kindness or happiness or accomplishing goals or willpower. And then you can ascribe it to any number that you'd like. And then you can start, getting bracelets with those numbers, getting necklaces with that necklaces. So when you see those numbers, you'll be reminded of it. That can be very helpful. Make life more interesting. Help you as a person. Make life more meaningful. That's great. Your unconscious is extremely powerful. So don't dismiss that when it's like, oh, that's just the unconscious. It's not just the unconscious. Your unconscious is... You are an infinite being of frequencies. You are infinitely powerful. You are a being of mind. You are eternal. Your unconscious is the core. Our collective unconscious, which you are a part of, is the core of the universe and all existence. So being like, it's just, that's like when people go, oh, it's just the placebo effect. The placebo effect is incredibly powerful. The unconscious is incredibly powerful. So it's not to say that these things are useless, but you want to know what they actually are so that you're in control of your life and you're not living in an illusion or giving your power away to something else. You want to be in control of your life. You want to be the one behind the wheel, and you want to live lucidly and clearly with what is true. I mean, I would hope you do. If you don't, then it doesn't really matter. Do whatever you want. I mean, always do whatever you want, but you get what I mean. So and then also we want to be open-minded to the possibility that synchronicity could be at play to some degree. How much or how that actually exists, does it exist, etc. That's all open to debate and needs to be studied. But we want to be open-minded to the possibility that synchronicities could be at play to some degree, possibly. And let's see. I just want to make it really clear. Always think about these things in all aspects of when you're studying anything like New Age or mystical or the occult, because this stuff comes up all the time. It's everywhere. And apophenia is one of the biggest roadblocks for people to achieving a higher consciousness, because people confuse it with concept networking. Concept networking is taking ideas that are apparently disparate or separate and seeing how they connect together. Seeing how science and mathematics and philosophy and art and love and history and sex and food and just I know it sounds weird, like how do those things relate? But that's the point, is seeing how concept networking, how all these things do relate in some way as being an expression of the absolute coming to realize itself through itself. All of these being different aspects of existence, just expressed in different ways. Mathematics being the formal aspect of reality, love being the way that reality experiences unity and coming together, and all these different aspects, concept networking knits them together into a unified picture of reality. And that's how you achieve all awareness or hyper awareness and higher consciousness, is because this develops a new structure in the psyche known as the analog all. And this is what allows one to literally reach a new level of consciousness, all awareness, that is beyond self-awareness and eventually hyper awareness. Now, so just beware that apophenia is the opposite of that. Not the opposite, but it's putting together connections that aren't there. Concept networking uses intuition and logic and reason. So apophenia is actually, when it goes into overdrive, actually related to schizophrenia. And let me actually just look at it real quick here. See, on Wikipedia, it says apophenia can be considered a commonplace effect of brain function, but taken to an extreme, it can be a symptom of psychiatric dysfunction. For example, a symptom of paranoid schizophrenia, where a patient sees hostile patterns, for example, a conspiracy to persecute them, in ordinary actions. Apophenia is also typical of conspiracy theories, where coincidence may be woven together into an apparent plot. So that's when you're seeing evidence of things that are, it's like imagine that you're a detective and you're trying to solve a case, but you think that everything is evidence. Like, oh my God, that candle over there, it must have been placed there by the killer preemptively because they knew that this person was going to be in the dark and near a candle when they plant. Your mind is trying to make connections. Apophenia is connections on overdrive, not grounded in logic and reason. So putting logic and reason in there helps. And if you're someone who does do that, like, don't feel bad about it. Apophenia is usually within people who are highly intuitive. Highly intuitive people can often have this phenomenon of apophenia occur because they're just so good at making connections. They see connections everywhere. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. It just becomes bad when you let it go out of control and you're not grounded in logic and reason. But, the same thing can be said of people who are all about logic and reason but have zero intuition and just become married to their senses and go, well, if I can't see it, it doesn't exist, and I'm only going to apply reason to the physical world, and I'm not even going to think about things that I can't touch and feel right in front of me. So we have to have a synergy of all these facets, and that's the point where we go into a higher consciousness. We have to use all these capacities of our mind working together in unity, and it's about, humanity has to do this to reach the next level. Too many people are taking little bits and pieces of the puzzle and arguing with each other. When they're all looking at the same puzzle, they just have different pieces, and so they think someone has a piece of water and someone has a piece of a tree, and someone with the water is going like, it's all about water, and someone with the tree is like, what are you talking about? The picture is about a tree. And then you put it together and you see that, oh, well, it's an island on an ocean. It's all connected. Well, yeah, I know. That's why you want to use intuition. That's why you want to use reason. That's why you want to see that there is an immaterial domain. There is a frequency domain. It doesn't necessarily mean that angels are constantly communicating with you, but it doesn't mean that, for example, that higher beings don't exist. From my research, higher beings do absolutely exist, but they're very unlikely to be making your Starbucks receipt come out to 1111. No, that's very, very unlikely. I mean, that's almost, no, just no. But, and one more thing that I want to say, if you come away from this and you still believe in angel numbers and all that, I don't care. See, the one thing that I care about is changing the world. So if you believe in angel numbers, but also want to help change the world, go for it. Believe it. Too many people are so divided on all the arguing with each other about what's true and not true, what isn't true. But what ultimately matters is changing the world. So I don't care if people believe in angel numbers, or if people are even like atheist, or if people are and don't believe in immaterial realm, or whatever you're, or you pray to a particular pagan god or something like that. That's fine. I don't believe those things are real. And I think that there are negative things about believing those things. I think if you are an atheistic materialist, I think that that's a negative understanding of existence and comes with negative things. I think giving your power away to certain things that are ultimately, in my opinion, going to have control over you, so you're not living a life as free as possible. I don't think those are the healthiest things, but that's your life. And if you want to believe those things, that's great. And that's fine. But let's change the world. Like, let's not argue about it. I'm not hating on you for believing these things. It's fine. My channel though is about presenting information according to my research in as lucid as way possible. And see, that's another thing too. Like, my channel is not about a popularity contest. If I wanted to be popular, I would just be like, yeah. Can you imagine if I just did? Yes, if I wanted to be popular, I'd be like, hell yeah, angel numbers, totally, absolutely. And you know what? Go out there, yeah. The idea here is to equip humanity with the tools necessary to reach a higher consciousness. And that's what we want to do. And ultimately, that's our goal. And we are Neogenians. Neogenians are about creating a new beginning through a new consciousness. That's how we want a new earth. And we are the new beginning of this new earth. And how do we do that? Through a new consciousness. Everything begins as an idea. Everything is in the mind. So we want to have the right idea. We want to have the idea of a new world and a new beginning and go out and create and start that world. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this stream, my friends. We are going to have a members only video, and the members only video is going to be really interesting. It's actually called An Alien Expert Says That a New Species of Human is living among us on Earth, that we're sharing Earth. So is that true? Is it not? Just like this, we're going to take a look at it through logic and reason, grounded in intuition as well, though, and being open-minded. We're going to take a look and see what that has to say. That's in the members only video. And if you want to be a part of that, you can just support on Patreon at any tier, any level, or tier 2 or higher on YouTube to get members only videos every single week, and a whole bunch of them that are already out there. And, as always, don't feel obligated to support monetarily. I never want anyone to feel pressured to or like they have to. Only do so if you feel comfortable doing it and you want to do it and you feel happy about doing it. It does help a lot, say how I'm able to do these videos, and I appreciate it very much. But there are plenty of free ways you can support, like liking and subscribing and sharing. That being said, I do want to give a shout out to those who do support. Thank you so much, especially to Renaissance Fairy, Cassidy, Angela, DB, Enki, Nusalina, Paul Rogers III, Eric, Masam, Ryan, and Christopher, and everyone else. Thank you very much.